Yesterday we did area of rectangles, parallelograms, and triangles. Today we're going to add on 3 more shapes. We're going to add on area of a trapezoid, area of a rhombus, area of a kite. I'm going to show you for a moment, oops, I forgot to erase all this, where the formula for trapezoid came from. I'm just going to do that one today. I like to make it pretty. So, yesterday, to review, what was the area for the parallelogram? How'd you find the area of the parallelogram yesterday? It was simply base times height, right? I didn't draw a perfect parallelogram, but let's pretend. Okay, so what if I did this? What shape is this right here? Trapezoid, and there's another one like it right there, even though it's not perfect. So I kind of cut the parallelogram in half, didn't I? So that means the area is going to be half of something, half of the base times the height. But if I wanted to do the area, you don't have to write any of this. I'm just showing you something, okay? Now, this piece is different than that piece. Remember how we called them the bases? And we said maybe this was base 1, so this would be the same piece there. And then we could call maybe this base 2, and this would be the same piece there. So now I just traded the base for B1 plus B2. So I would have to add those little pieces, B1 and B2, and multiply by the height. But I'd also have to take half because it's only half of that figure. That's where that formula came from. If you wanted to do the area of this entire parallelogram, you would do B1 plus B2 times the height, and then you would have to divide by 2 to get one of these trapezoids. So that's where the formula comes from. We're going to, I like using, I'm going to slide this up. We don't need that really anymore. If you have a trapezoid, base 1 plus base 2, we're going to add them and average them. It says average the height of the bases, average the bases, multiply by the height. The height is h. So this is the formula I prefer to do. I prefer it over this one. I think kids don't like the way this one looks as much. So I think we'll just add our bases, multiply by our height, and cut it in half. Okay? All right, for in the area of a rhombus. I'm not going to prove it right now. I'm just going to talk to you about the fact that, you know how there's triangles in here? And you do half of the base times the height? Sort of got to do with that. You got a couple of them. So what you do is to get the area of all those triangles, which would be base times height for one of them, right? And you take half of it. How many do you have? You have 4 of those. And so anyway, the formula is take your diagonals, multiply them, and divide by 2. So you take the 2 diagonals, you multiply them, and divide by 2. And that's the same thing for a kite. Okay, it has a lot to do with the fact that all of those have a bunch of triangles in there, and triangle formula was base times height divided by 2. So let's do some examples. This first one, this is a trapezoid. It's got a base of 18 and another base that's 40. It has a height of 15. So just to get these, we're going to probably do quite a few examples of everything. I'm going to use this formula. And my base 1 is 18, my base 2 is the 40, and my height is the 15. So I just plug it all in. 18 plus 40, parentheses around it, divided by 2 times 15. Now let's go ahead and add 18 and 40. That's 58. Divided by 2 times 15. Now I suggest you do this, and I'll explain why. If you did not simplify the parentheses first, you would have to type all this in, parenthesis. Oh gosh, I forgot what they were now. 18 plus 40 And you'd have to type it all like this. And then you'd hit divided by 2. And then you'd hit times the height, which was 15, I think. Okay, that's fine and it doesn't take forever, but it's certainly faster to do 58 divided by 2 times 15. At least it is for me. It's less strokes that you have to do in the calculator. 435 is the final answer. You could actually divide this out if you wanted and do it a little bit more in your head. But we need a label on it of square meters, 435 square meters. Okay, number 2. This trapezoid is simply laying sideways compared to the previous one, and its altitude or height is located on the exterior. So these are my bases. My height is the 28. So I've got an 8 of 28, base 1, 12, base 2, 24. So area is 12 plus 24 divided by 2 times 28. Really doesn't matter what you divide by 2, but 12 plus 24 is 36, so I probably would type 36 divided by 2 times 28. Or you can do 18 times 28 if you know 36 divided by 2 in your head is 18. Okay, I don't know what that is. I don't feel like doing it in my head, so I'm going to go ahead and type it, just like you would. All right, and I got 504, and that'd be in square yards. Okay, number 3. Now, that's on the next page. Sorry. Continued area of rhombus and a kite, second part of the section. The formula, we're going to find the area of the rhombus. Diagonal times diagonal divided by 2 is the preferred way most students like to do it. You've got 2 diagonals and one had to be drawn on the exterior. 7 is one of them. We're going to multiply that times the other one. Now notice that that would go from here to here. So if it was on the inside, it would be 9 going that way. All right, so we do 7 times 9 divided by 2. And that's 63 divided by 2, so we should be getting the decimal 31.5 square meters. I'll just do that. Example. All right, now we got some more examples. Number 4. You have to look at the picture. You have to know where those little things are pointing at. So the 20 in a 20 gives me diagonal 1, 20 plus 20, which would be 40. Diagonal 2, I'm going to need to add 56 and 26, which is 82. So I've got one diagonal is 40 inches, the other diagonal is 82 inches. So the area would be, add them up, or multiply them, 40 times 82 divided by 2. Okay, guys, will you calculate that, please? Everybody should be doing the calculator, not sitting there waiting for someone else to do it. That's what makes you remember the formulas, guys. Come on, let me. That 1,640. And then we label it square inches. Okay, number 5. What will I be calculating? Carolyn? Okay, good. You realize that they only gave you pieces, right? So if that's 10, and there's a hashtag over here, hash mark, not tag, that's another 10. So I'll just say diagonal 1, equals 20. And then she said 40 for the other because you have to add 20 plus another 20. Diagonal 2 is 40. All right, so 20 times 40 divided by 2. That should be an easy one for you to calculate without a calculator. 800 divided by 2 would be 400 square centimeters. Okay, now we're going to do some problems going backwards. What that means is we're not going to find the area, we're going to find a different part. When you do a word problem, it's good to just pick apart what they're telling you and jot some things down. It says one diagonal of a kite is 3 times as long as the other. I'm going to make a kite. I don't know why I made such a ginormous kite, but I did. All right. It says one of the diagonals is 3 times as long as the other. So I'm going to make the little one x, because this other one going that way, which is the distance from there to there, would then be 3 times it, 3x. Okay. If the area of the kite is 294, that is A. What are the lengths of the diagonals? Okay, so we have let diagonal 1 equal x and diagonal 2 equal 3x. We've got an A is 294. So here's what we got to do to solve. The formula for the area is diagonal 1 times diagonal 2 divided by 2. Now I'm just going to substitute in what I've got here for every letter. So I'm putting 294 in for A equals diagonal 1, I let be x, times diagonal 2, 3x. The formula says you have to divide that by 2. Okay, so now what I'm asking you is what do you think we should do to get the x part alone? Just look over here. I want to get rid of the 2 and the 3, and then I'll get down to x, and I might have to do something else. How do I get rid of the 2? Multiply both sides by 2. Now, if you need more like detailed notes, you may wish to write what I'm about to do down here, or make sure you have room so you can show a step where I'm going to show that I'm multiplying both sides by 2. So I'm actually just rewriting this mess up here. Oops. And I'm multiplying both sides by 2. Okay, because now I didn't want to write it on here because then you forget what you originally started with. So I'm showing it down here because now I'm going to cancel out the 2's on the right side. And I'm going to multiply 2 times 294. Can someone do that, please? 588. And now what do I have left over here? I have x times 3x, which would be 3x squared. Okay. So the next step would be to divide by 3. 588 divided by 3, let's see, 128. 7, 6, 196, oopsie, yep, equals x squared. Next, you need to take the square root, and we will finally have what we were looking for, which is x is 14. So we go back to the beginning, and we say the diagonals would be 14, and the units were inches. And the other diagonal would be 3 times 14, which would be 42 inches. Everything needs labels. Okay, let's try another work backwards problem. Anybody need this still? I know I went kind of slow on that. I hope you're right. Is there anybody else in track? I did not find that memo, and that's not okay, but okay. Next one, number 7. All right, so this time it's the trapezoid. So the first thing I see when I see the word trapezoid is I'm going to look up that formula, and you're going to have a formula sheet for finals and everything. The formula sheet, you're going to have B1 plus B2 divided by 2 times the height. At least that's the one I've been using. It doesn't matter if you use the other one, but this is the one I'm using. It says you have a height of 6 inches, so h is 6. You have a base of 15, so let it be B1 or B2. It doesn't really matter. B2 is 15. You have an area of 120, so A is 120. That's how you pick apart a word problem. What is the length of the other base? Okay, so I'm going to pop in all these values into the formula. I wrote down the formula so I can see where to put them. I put 120 in for A. I put 15 in for my B2 or B1, doesn't matter. And then I hit divided by 2, and then I put in 6 for my H. All right, now, what do you think we should do to start solving this and get B1 alone? First thing we could do, maybe, hint, hint. This isn't the only way to do it. Did anybody think of dividing 6 by 2? You can do that. Okay, it doesn't matter because this is a product. So you could do 6 divided by 2. I'm thinking you probably, or most of you, are seeing that 2 down there and you don't like it there, right? So you're going to multiply both sides by 2. That's what I'm thinking most of you would do. Carolyn, is that what you're going to say? Or were you going to do something else? All right, it's not the only way to do it, but I'm going to show this in the notes. I'm going to say, let's get rid of that too. So I would probably write this in color because it's not part of what we filled in on the formula, but I don't want to write too much. So I'm multiplying by 2. Okay, so I'm crossing out the 2's here. I could have put it out there, but I wanted it close here so I could show you crossing it out. 2 times 120 would be 240. Now I have B1 plus 15 in parentheses times 6. Now how do I get rid of the times 6? Divide. What? Because you multiplied by 2 to cancel the 2. Yeah, it's gone. Okay, so I'm going to divide by 6 now. Okay, so now I've got 40 equals B1 plus 15. And now what? Well, this is the easy part, guys. Subtract. Okay, 40 minus 15 would be 25. These were in inches. All right, multiply. So what did we do? We multiplied by 2. If you want to write down what we did, multiply both sides by 2. Okay, divide by the height. And then we subtract. All right, we're going to have, there's going to be one in our assignment, which this is the last one in our notes here. And that would be next. We were going into the packet. What is next? And there's your formulas again at the top of the page. I told you that I prefer the ones that are actually written down on the bottom. I think most kids find these more friendly because it looks easier dividing by 2 than the half thing in there. Get fraction phobic. All right. I already talked to you about where the formulas came from. I showed you this yesterday. Talked to you about this yesterday. Talked to you about this today. And this is just another rhombus and kite, what it is. And then we'll actually be doing circles and regular polygons as well. Not today, though. The first problem now on your paper is this one. and it's the area of a trapezoid. So we're going to be, I forgot I had a highlighter going. Okay, we're going to use the formula for trapezoid, which is base 1 plus base 2 divided by 2 times the height. Okay, so it doesn't matter which you call base 1 and base 2, but it does matter which one you call the height. So area for this one, we'll just quick add those bases, 32 plus 18, divide by 2, and multiply by 16. So that's going to give me 32 plus 18 is 50. 50 divided by 2 times 16. I would either type in 50 divided by 2 times 16 on my calculator or do 25 times 16. Because if I do 25 times 16, it's even less to type. And I'm sure you can divide 50 by 2 in your head. Should get 400 regardless. And it's in square feet. Number 2 just has one of those turned ones. I think this is the same as what was in our ISN, isn't it? And the height is the 28, which is drawn outside the figure, which is often the case. We're going to need to find the area by doing 12 plus 24 divided by 2, and then multiply by 28. If you're typing it in your calculator all at once, don't forget you must put in parentheses, else you're going to get them wrong. So I'd rather just go ahead and add 12 and 24 in my head, 36 divided by 2 times 28, and type that in. $504, yep, these were the ones we did on our ISM, wasn't it? 504 square yards. All right, number 3. Go for it. Your height is on the outside, and your base 1 and base 2 are on the left and the right. Add your bases, multiply by your height, and divide by 2. I got 23 divided by 2 times 5, and just type that in your calc. $57.5. And that would be in square inches. Okay, try number 4, please. Do it. See if you're going to get it right. Wait. Okay, what did you get? Should be done by now. How much? 177. Thank you, Kenny. Square centimeters. Don't forget to label. Was that Kenny or was it Kaden? What? It was, wasn't it? Well, that's what I thought. Well, what was so funny? Must have been something else. Oh, I'm sorry. Cadence, you said it first. Are you in a competition back there? I'm just teasing. All right. 5. Let's go for this one. How fast you can be. All right. You don't have accuracy counts more though. If you want to do the addition of these bases in your head in the beginning, that saves time. What you get? Did you calculate it? Good. 384 square feet. I'll just say it the way it's, because I'm the teacher. I'm saying square feet. I know why you guys are saying feet squared, right? Because that's how you write it, and that's perfectly fine to say it like that. At least for you guys. All right. Area of a rhombus and kites. Thank you. A rhombus is a parallelogram with all 4 what? Congruent. All right, we studied this, all four, yep, sides. Now let's see if we remember the next one. A kite is a quadrilateral with exactly two pairs of what kind of sides congruent? What's that word that means one after the other? Good, consecutive. Okay, just knowing that these are rhombi and kites and that they are different, that cool thing is they have the same formula for doing their area. I preferred doing d1 times d2 divided by 2. I just think everybody sees that a little bit easier. Multiply your diagonals and cut it in half. Divide by 2. All right, examples. Ready, set. This should be a breeze. Area would be, this means the 12 going, this diagram showing this diagonal is the 12. You don't have to highlight it unless that helps you to understand what's going on here. And this way, that would be that measurement of 18. So those are our diagonals. And all we have to do is multiply 12 and 18 and divide it by 2. If you're like to do mental math, the quick trick here for doing the mental math is to divide one of those numbers by 2 in the new top and then multiply if you can. So if you want to do this in mental math, you can do 18 divided by 2 is 9. 9 times 12 will be 90 plus 18, which is 108. And if you didn't understand what I just did, you can just type it. Some people will, and they'll just maybe practice a little more mental math. But I would rather you get it right and not, take a test, make sure you double check it. Number 7, area of the rhombus. This time the diagonals are labeled and they are cut in half. Well, at least horizontally it's cut in half. This thing's a kite. So one of the diagonals is 18 plus 10, D1. 18 plus 10, it doesn't matter which one you call which. D2 would be 24 plus 24. So first we got to add. We get 28 and 48. Now we'll multiply those diagonals and divide by 2. I'm not going to do that one in my head. So numbers are getting big. Go for it. Someone got it? How much? Anybody else get 672? Okay. You're already ahead of me. All right, I better speed up. Number 8. Uh-oh. What are we going to multiply? Number 9. Did I skip 8? No. There is no 8. Where did 8? Do you have an 8? Okay, well, I guess none of us do. Should be 9 missing because 7, 8, 9. All right, bad joke. What are the diagonal lengths? Okay, so I have some people say 13. You see those slashes on here? 13 is only there. Okay, so you got another 13 here, another 13 there, another 13 there. So the diagonals are 26 apiece. So we do 26 times 26 divided by 2. Don't forget to divide it by 2 parts. I don't know what that is. Help me out. I don't feel like pulling out my calculator. I want to make sure you guys are doing it. Okay. It's 39. Think something's missing on that. 338, great. That's a lot better. Thank you so much. 338 square centimeters. All right, to the next one. Wait a minute. What are our diagonals? Don't be lazy and just do 7 times 8 divided by 2, or if you do 14 times 8 divided by 2, one of them's not 8. It's twice 8. Okay. So 16, and the other one is 2 7, so it would be 14 divided by 2. All right, double check, make sure you got it. Should be 112. All right, 11. Oops, what happened? No 11 either. All right, guess we put it in the ISN. We have to work backwards. All right, so X in this picture is the height. You with me? We're going to find the height. So what I got to do, I see a trapezoid. The first thing you do is you go to your formula sheet, you write down the formula for the area of a trapezoid. That is the best way to do these problems. You write down the formula. Okay, now go and say, well, I've got an A, so I plug in 164. I've got the bases, so I put in 12.8 plus 20. The formula says to divide the sum of the bases by 2 and then multiply by the height, and I don't have the height. So I guess I could put what in for it? Because the picture has an X, I guess I could put an X in there. Or H. All right, now, start solving. Let's do this. You see how we got some math we could simplify over here? Instead of multiplying by 2, which you could multiply by 2, or we could just add and divide by 2 first. So that's what I'm going to do. 164 equals 20 plus 12.8 would be 32.8. We need to divide that by 2, and then it's times X. 32.8 divided by 2 would be 16.4 times X. And the last step, divide by 16.4. Okay, and that gives us 10. So the height would be 10 feet, or I guess that was X. You could just write X equals 10 feet. Did anybody do it before I did it and still get the same answer by multiplying by 2 and then dividing by 32.8? All right, that's good. All right, next one, we're working backwards. We see a kite. We go look up the formula. We write down the area of the formula is diagonal 1 times diagonal 2 divided by 2. Then we put in 340 for A. We put in X for one of the diagonals and 20 for the other diagonal. I'm going to put in diagonal 1 is 20. So I'm going to put in 20, and then I'm going to put in X for diagonal. Oh, wait a minute. Is that the whole diagonal? It looks like it's just there, doesn't it? So that means I have to add on another X. Okay? So this diagonal 2, is actually X plus X. If they wanted it to be only 1X, they should have made one of those things. You know what I'm saying? All right. So I'm going to call diagonal 2X plus X. What's X plus X? 2X. You don't have to multiply, so it's not squared. All right, so I put 20 times 2X divided by 2 into my formula. All right, now I continue. 340 equals 40X divided by 2. 40X divided by 2 is 20X. Divide by both sides by 20. And I got 17 for the length of the diagonal, or for X. Now that thing's not to scale, but I wanted to make sure I thought of it being 2X there, because it sure looks like that arrow only meant that for little piece right there. All right, moving on. One diagonal of a kite, it's 3 times as long as the other diagonal. So I'll let one of them be X, then the other one's going to be 3X. Okay, that's this. Okay. All right, so I write down the formula. Area is diagonal 1 times diagonal 2 divided by 2. It says that the area is 54 square meters. I'm going to put 54 in for A. I'm going to put in X for diagonal 1 and 3X for diagonal 2. And then the formula says divide by 2. I'm going to multiply both sides by 2, don't you think? Get rid of that icky 2 on the bottom. Okay, so I'm multiplying by 2. Oh, 54 times 2, or 2 times 54 is 108. And I've got x times 3x, which would be 3x squared. Next, I divide by 3. What's 108 divided by 3? Bless you. 36 equals x squared. And then I would have to take the square root of 36 to get x. So how big is the first diagonal? Okay, and what's the units? I think you guys have inches on your paper, don't you? So it'd be 6 inches for that. And then I put in 3 times 6 and get 18 inches for the other one. All right. 15, we got a trapezoid. So I'm going to write down the trapezoid's area formula. It says base 1 plus base 2 divided by 2 times the height. I'm going to stick stuff in that they're given. I've got a height of 20. I have a base of 15. So I'll put that in for one of the bases. I have an area 400. That'd be the A. All right, so I just stuck it all in there. You know, you can multiply by 2 and then divide by 20. That'll work. So if you do that, or you could take half of 20 is 10. It's up to you. All right, so anyway, I'll multiply by 2 because I think that's what you want me to do. All right, times 2. Crash out those. Don't forget to multiply by 2 over here. You got 800 equals 15 plus base 2 times 20. We need to divide by 20. Both sides. What's 800 divided by 20? 40. And we got 40 equals 15 plus base 2. Subtract 15. It's the same one that was in our ISM. We get 25. And it would be in inches. I really didn't need to have the picture, but this would have been 20. One of the bases was 15. And I don't know. I want to know this. Okay, and they gave you the area was 400. We finished the problem. Homework. All right, we've got some practice for you to do, of course. Tomorrow, I'm going to let you ask me questions on the homework for this and for 11-1. And then we're going to have a get ready for the quiz worksheet. And we're going to do a quiz on the following day, after tomorrow, 2 days.